Hello, on this occasion we are going to present the topic, the phoneme and the allophone. We are Darling Hill, Rosy Corrado, and Gladys Larios. We are going to describe the most important details, descriptions, and examples of this topic for the course of phonetics in English. So my friend Darling is going to start explaining.
Okay, what is a phoneme? Phoneme is the smallest unit of sound in speech. It means that the phoneme is the sound, not the letter. For example, cat and phone. Cat has 3 letters and phone has 5 letters, but cat has 3 phonemes and phone also has 3 phonemes. For that, the phonemes are the sounds, not the letters. Phoneme is written between slashes and can depending on environment, speech rate, or accent. The phoneme can change the meaning. For example, but, pat. B and B are different phonemes. So the result is 2 different words or 2 different meaning, but, pat. Now, what is allophones? Allophones are the different ways in which the same phoneme can be pronounced. Allophones not change the meaning of the word because are the variants of the same sound. Allophones are written between square brackets and can be influenced by word position, stress, and neck-boring sound. Allophones has 3 types: individual, territorial, and positional. Individual, for example, is when a foreigner or a person cannot pronounce correctly. Territorial is, for example, when in some part of country pronounce P as PH, F. And positional, for example, L in love sound clear and L in wall sound more vague and velar. But what are the differences between phoneme versus allophone? Phonemes are abstract and is written between slashes, and concrete in allophone is concrete and is written between square brackets. Phoneme is mental sounds and allophones are physical sounds. Phoneme can change the meaning, but allophone cannot change the meaning. And phoneme, for example, in the word cut versus got, K and G are different phonemes. So this word has different meaning. And finally, in allophone, for example, KH and K are allophones of K. We are going to continue with my classmate.
So we are going to continue talking about the allophonic variation in English. As we know, it has been known in linguistics that there are 2 kinds of allophones for certain phonemes in American English. One class contains the so-called articulation gesture allophones, such as different places of articulation of K depending on the following vowel. These allophones usually result from mechanical averaging of articulatory gestures. Thus, they always appear in a given sequence of phonemes in the language. However, there are not free variables in the language. We have found through experience with speech synthesis that the language always demands a particular allophone for a particular place in the sentence. This allophone section is not limited to a smaller number of well-known examples, but a parallel phonemes exist with all consonants in the American English. Some examples of allophonic variation in English are the following. First, allophonic variation refers to the different ways a phoneme, which is a basic unit of sound in a language, can be pronounced in specific context without changing the meaning of the word. In English, this occurs with sounds like T and P and L, where their phonetic realizations can vary depending on their position within a word or a syllable. Some examples are these. For example, allophones. When there is an aspirated T in words like top, it has a puff that it is released when it is pronounced at the beginning of the stressed syllable. Now, on the opposite hand, when it is an unaspirated T in words such as stop, there is not a puff and it is not aspirated because the T goes after the S. And the medial T, for example, words such as rider, the T occurs after the stressed syllable. Another example of allophones is in the aspirated P in words such as pin. It is here an aspirated because it is at the beginning of the syllable, but it can be an unaspirated P in words such as spin, when it is also after the letter S. Here is also a breakdown of examples of allophones. Here we have the word stop that we said goes after the S. Now if we go down, let's continue with my friend Rosie that is going to explain minimal pairs.
A minimal pair is a set of words that mean two different things but differ by a single speech sound. If a unit of sound changes the meaning of a word, it is called a phoneme in linguistics. Since replacing just one sound in these words can completely change the meaning of the word and thus the sentences, practicing minimal pairs will help to express yourself in English, improving your speaking and listening comprehension. As an English learner, you may have trouble pronouncing similar sounds, or you may have trouble hearing the differences between them. But you can polish your pronunciation and overall understanding of a single word and complete sentences by practicing these pairs. For English language students, minimal pairs are often used in listening tests and pronunciation exercises. Some words differ by a consonant sound. For example, some students in the process of learning English have trouble with the TH sound. When they want to say three, they may drop the H and just say tree. However, tree means something completely different in English, potentially leading to confusion. In these examples, we can see the differences between sheep and sheep. At the first is a short E, and the second is a long E. And minimal pairs help linguistics to the study sound the system of a language. Thank you for your attention. This was our presentation.